Well, hello everyone. Welcome to the Shifts and Pucks News Pack for Tuesday, July 19th. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Shifts and Pucks, Facebook.com Shifts and Pucks, YouTube.com Shifts and Pucks, Twitch.com Shifts and Pucks. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. As of course, Sean and I did a recap of free agency last night, talking about the Canucks situation with JT Miller and being patient, talking about Johnny Gaudreau in Columbus, a little bit on Matthew Tkachuk. So check that out as well. And give that a like, give that a follow, give that a share, and we would really appreciate that. We're going to have a podcast with Devin coming up here, hopefully at some point this week. We're just working on a schedule to dissect what's going on with the Flames and the Leafs and all of that, what's going on there. But let's get into there's three news stories today that are hitting here, and I uh, we'll start here. Let's start with Hockey Canada because this is, I know that there's a lot of people interested in what's happening with Matthew Tkachuk, but some interesting revelations came out today. This is a tweet from Mark Medley. He is a daily opinion editor at the Globe and Mail. He says Hockey Canada keeps a special multi-million-dollar fund, which is fed by the registration fees for players across the country that it uses to pay out settlements in cases of alleged sexual assault without its insurance company. This is an article from the Globe and Mail today, which Medley works for, of course. And that is was written by Grant Robertson, and this is, of course, in light of the reopening of the investigation involving the allegations from June of 2018 of a sexual assault. The Globe and Mail investigation found that the reserve fund has exceeded $15 million in recent years. It's not disclosed how it operates in the annual report. It's not listed in the organization's handbook for parents and players. And it's look according to the investigation in the article written by Grant Robertson, it's used at Hockey Canada's discretion and can be deployed to write checks to cover out-of-court settlements for a variety of claims, including allegations of sexual assault that are deemed uninsurable or are settled without the participation of its insurer. Of course, this is raising a lot of questions about how Hockey Canada is operating its fund. And of course, as part of this, and this will be part of some questions that will be asked next week when the Heritage Standing Committee reconvenes again with Hockey Canada. Rick Westhead tweeted today that Sebastian Lemaire, that he plans to, MP Sebastian Lemaire told me he plans to ask Hockey Canada officials during a government hearing in Ottawa next week to release from non-disclosure agreements all alleged victims who assigned an NDA in connection with any historical sentiment with Hockey Canada. He goes on to say, Lamar also told me, depending on how the Hockey Canada hearings unfold on July 26th and 27th, he may request additional hearing dates for the Standing Committee on Canadian Heritage to continue investigate the allegations and would consider asking former CHL players to testify. So this is going to become much deeper of an issue here with Hockey Canada. Not as simple as just 8 players. There's been, looks like other issues going deeper here, and we'll see what the Standing Committee does on the 26th and the 27th. Again, would recommend that you listen to the Steve Dangle podcast where Rick Westhead was on with Adam, Steve, and Jesse. Not that they're friends of mine, that's their names. Talking about the situation. While it's a 30-minute podcast, recommend listening for you to get a little bit more deep dive into this situation, but it's certainly not looking good here. And it's just one of those stories that I think wanted to start with that today because it's easy to talk about transactions, but what's going on with Hockey Canada still is a pretty important story that needs our attention here. So, That's what's going on in Hockey Canada. And of course, the trial here with Jake Virtanen, a former Vancouver Canuck. This is from one count of sexual assault he's been charged with to a 2017 incident in his hotel room. And just, I should mention, of course, this is graphic for you. I understand it is some very difficult content that we're starting here. But under questioning from the Crown Counsel, a woman testified she pulled away from Virtanen repeatedly as she attempted to touching his inner dress. She said she explicitly told him more than once that she seriously and genuinely did not want to have sex with him. And MS testified that Virtanen replied to her rebukes, "It's okay, we don't have to." So it's what's going on there. She's from a small town of BC, Toronto. She testified she met Virtanen at a bar during the 2017 Calgary Stampede. Was unaware of who he was and what she did for a living. And they exchanged cell phone numbers, shared a kiss, stayed in touch. And when she arrived in Vancouver, September 27th, he insisted they get together that night. And she says, I felt sick. She got a sick feeling in my stomach. It was the exact situation I didn't want to be put in. She went her first public story back in April of 2021 on her Instagram page that posts sexual assault survivor stories. She did not name herself or Virtanen in the post. She filed a civil suit in May of 2021 against Virtanen before taking her complaint to the police. The single assault charges was backed in January of 2022. And Virtanen's lawyer is Brock Martland. He has yet to cross-examine, and the trial is expected to last 1 week. So this is not a great day for hockey, knowing this story, this testimony with Jake Virtanen, the story coming out with Hockey Canada, and these are two things that usually we put at the end of a cast. I think we need to start there. The other news that is today is about Matthew Tkachuk. We talked a little bit about this on the podcast last night. The club late yesterday this afternoon, where I announced they would file club salary arbitration. And it looks like at this point, according to the readings from Eric Francis, that a trade with Matthew Tkachuk could be really imminent. It's, really ultimately a lot of people think that this is buying time to try to decide what's happening with Matthew Tkachuk, whether that is an extension. This essentially keeps Tkachuk from an offer sheet that prevents that, but it doesn't prevent a potential trade. Eric Francis went on a St. Louis radio station today and said that he wouldn't be surprised if this happened during the week. And Ryan Leslie just tweeted out a little bit ago here, a couple hours ago, looking at the comments out there, as the Tkachuk scenario unfolds, if it is a trade scenario prior to a team giving up any assets to acquire him, they would need assurances that he would indeed sign with that team. Simply put, it likely involves a select group of teams in play. It just looks to me, just personally, more and more that I look at this, don't think that the haul for Matthew Tkachuk is going to be as much as Calgary Flame fans hope. I think this is going to be a very tough negotiation. If you look at Vancouver, what has happened with JT Miller, that's been a tough negotiation. There were only 3 teams, according to Elliot Friedman, truly in on JT Miller. Nazem Kadri, as of yet, still unsigned, by the way. I don't think there's a huge market right now for Matthew Tkachuk. So in terms of who could afford him, who would want to sign him long term, and ultimately Matthew's decision of where he would want to go. He is in this similar position to Johnny in that he controls his destiny. Just don't think at the end of the day, this is going to turn out the way that Calgary Flame fans were wanting to rebuild and wanting all these draft picks. Just not seeing it at this particular point. Now, anything could change, and I could totally be wrong, but really doesn't feel like this is a trade that the Calgary Flames can win. And the rebuild, and if we want to get into the rebuild part of this from the Calgary Flames perspective here, it's going to take a while to start the teardown, and then it's going to take a while to build that rebuild up. So we'll have to see what happens here. You've still got one more year of Brad Treliving and Daryl Sutter. See where this ownership group is at. There's a lot of things in play here in terms of where the Calgary Flames want to go. Do they go for draft picks? Do they get another team involved? Do they try to get an impact player or a current player involved? I still think there's a lot of ways that this could go, but in terms of a trade and who they could get and what they could get, I'm not seeing a lot on the table that the Flames could get. I don't see this haul that the Calgary Flames fans are hoping for in terms of Twitter. I just not at this point, and that may disappoint a lot of people, but from Calgary's perspective, but that's how I'm sort of seeing that at this particular point in time. And then the other story today from Team USA, Chaz Lucius is from Chris Peters. Chaz Lucius, Scott Morrow will not be available when camp starts tomorrow. The USA has added prospects Aiden Thompson, Luke Tuck from Aiden Thompson for Chicago, Luke Tuck, Remington Capel, he's undrafted, Jacob Fowler from the 2023 draft, Ryan Leonard from the 2023 draft, and Jacob Truscott from Vancouver to its camp. So, as we're getting ready, of course, for the World Juniors that are coming up here in August. So there's a lot of questions going on. Just back to the Hockey Canada situation and kind of sandwiches a moment. A lot of questions about this tournament right now. It just doesn't feel to me. I know we need to play this tournament, but it just feels really tough right now to be honest with you, to support Hockey Canada. In its way, shape, or form right now. It's very tough, but see what happened. We haven't heard any other major sponsors or anyone else say anything at this particular point. That could happen soon. We'll see what happens there, but it's been a kind of a tougher day with Hockey Canada, Jake Virtanen, in terms of like huger news and for Flames fans, Matthew Tkachuk. So we'll see what happens. You can always follow us on Twitter at here as well. And just saw this tweet from Rick Westhead before. Just wanted to have a good here. Rick Westhead just tweeted out June 20th Hockey Canada testimony. So if you want to have a look at that, that is for you there as well. By the way, also Robert Thompson, he released a statement today, a la Connor Timmins. He tweeted this from his own account. And just before we go here, I am aware of the allegations made against some of the members of the 2018 Canadian World Junior team in London, Ontario, in June of 2018. It's important for me to share with you my response to these allegations. I had no involvement in, nor did I witness the alleged incident. I look forward to cooperating with the NSGL investigation as well as any other investigation, if appropriate and as required. I will not be making any further public comments at this time. So sort of similar to what Connor Timmins and other players from that 2018 team have said. We yet to hear from Dylan Dubé, who was the captain of that team, by the way. Be interesting to see what happens there. But we'll leave it there for now. You can follow us all individually on Twitter. Devin, Gordhow09, Sean, BeautyConnect03, Tyler, happy birthday to him, TNOBLE, Christian Steins, SCHNEIDZ. I am KDVOLE, Shifts and Pucks, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. Subscribe wherever you get your audio, as well as on the Area 51 Sports Network. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.